So Yaro Collective decided to come to London Design Fair because we were looking to get out of New York City, which is where we're based, and to reach a new audience. We also liked the idea of sort of breaking out of the mold of the other designers and studios we know in New York, and this is an excellent chance to kind of see how people from across the pond are designing and what their aesthetics are, and see how ours compare, and it makes for an interesting collaboration. Yeah, I mean, we've been extremely excited about people's responses to the pieces. I think that it's sort of validated all the hard work we've put in, and I think that we did come with some sort of bold and unique designs, and people have responded really well, and I think that's really gratifying to us, and it's really fun to get to show this work to the London audience, and the response has been better than we imagined. So, I mean, one of the things that drove us when we came together as independent designers to be a collective was we basically wanted for this collection to look how to uniquely interact with these sort of art/furniture objects, and we wanted to have sort of an interaction or a tactile sensation that went along with it. And I think that you can clearly see it in Jude Hughes's Fat Family lamp, where in order to turn it on and off, you're like literally you have to touch what almost looks like a sculptural piece of artwork. And I think that that connection, it's just an intimate and unique and fun way to have a lamp in your house. With this rug that we're calling Esoteric Boogaloo, basically it forces whoever's sitting in it to kind of create a dynamic with the person who's also sharing it. And the idea was to create a connection, a sort of ritual when you're sitting. And that's sort of reflected in the kind of unique esoteric patterns that we crafted into the rug. And basically you can't use it without kind of engaging with another person. Also with these floating sconces that we call gold caps, you turn them on and off by basically brushing the underside of them, giving them like a tickle. And it's a unique and fun way, and you're just like, it makes you want to turn the lamp on and off. And that's like not a sensation you normally have with a wall sconce. That kind of general principle also applies to when we're looking at Andrea Perique's lamps, and also Jude Hughes's table, in which you have to look at them and you're like automatically questioning how was that made? Like, how are those hanging? There's like an engineering to them that, you know, you either have a floating plane of glass or these floating bulbs, and it makes you want to walk up and look into the parts and see, it makes you want to investigate the piece further. So they're not only pretty, they like encourage some sort of interaction or a thought process when you're looking at them. And that was sort of what kind of drove this collection, was keeping that as the backbone. You can also see we played with some of the same forms. So these kind of large arcs and curves are repeated throughout each piece in some form. Right, so myself and Andrea Perique designed the Esoteric Boogaloo rug. And that came from, actually it was initially inspired by Andrea, who is of Indian heritage. And so her family ate meals on the floor, as it was custom for them to do. And so she was really into the idea of playing with that ground plane and like, how do you utilize the floor, which in the West, both in the States and in England, we just kind of ignore, or it's the spot for a decorative carpet at most. So that was sort of the basis of it. And then we thought, not only do we want you to sit, we want you to share things. We want to make surfaces that food or drink or, you know, your book or whatever it is, it goes on there and it creates basically a sense of communal interaction between whoever's on the rug. And that's, you can see that as when you've got the marble flat surfaces, that asks you to engage in a communal manner. And that all really stemmed from kind of the way that Andrea interacted with her family growing up. And so we took it in a direction where we didn't necessarily want it to have any cultural aesthetic influence, but we wanted that sort of to be the strong basis of the way you interact with the piece.